Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great. So in this video, we are going to discuss the division of polynomials. So let's get started. This is basically the third unit of the first chapter of P3 Maths. That's Algebra. Today we will be talking about 1.3. That is division of polynomials. All right, okay. So this is what we need to discuss today. Okay, in order to understand the division of polynomials, let's consider an example. Example number 1. Divide x cubed minus 5x squared plus x plus 10 by x minus 2. All right. Now this is the first example that we need to consider in order to understand this section, that is division of polynomials. Now here, this is the polynomial and this is the factor that we are going to use as divisor. So you can think about it as the divisor, and the polynomial is the dividend, right? So the way we do simple usual division of numbers, we will be doing it in the same way. So let me just write it down. Okay, it's going to be x minus 2, and here we have x cubed minus 5x squared plus x plus 10. Okay, all right. So students, now please pay attention. We are almost going to start. The question was about dividing a polynomial by x minus 2. Think about the polynomial as a dividend. Think about that factor as a divisor. And now we need to divide. Okay. In order to understand this, just know that you need a number here such that when you will subtract, the x cubed term should vanish. This means that I need to multiply x minus 2 by x squared. Why? Because now when I will multiply x squared by x minus 2, it would give me x cubed minus 2x squared, and then I need to have the difference. So these two terms would be cancelled out and I would have minus 5x squared, and then minus and minus would make it plus 2x squared. So it would be minus 3x squared. This would come as it is, and then plus 10. Okay. Next, we need a number such that when we multiply it with x minus 2, we get minus 3x2 here, okay, or minus 3x squared here. So that number is going to be negative 3x. Now when I will multiply negative 3x with x minus 2, that is going to give me negative 3x squared plus 6x, and now we need to again find the difference. So negative with the negative would make it positive. These two would be cancelled. And positive x minus 6x would give you minus 5x. And then I need to take this 10 down. So we have positive 10 here. Next, I need a number such that when I multiply that number by x minus 2, I get minus 5x here. So the number is going to be minus 5. And when I will multiply minus 5 by x minus 2, it would give me minus 5x plus 10. And finally, when I will take the difference, I would get 0 as the remainder. So this means that when we will divide x cubed minus 5x squared plus x plus 10 by x minus 2, the quotient would be x squared minus 3x minus 5. So I can write it as, this thing is very, very important. I can write x cubed minus 5x squared plus x plus 10 as a product of two factors. It's x minus 2. This is the linear factor. When I will multiply this linear factor by this quadratic one, it's x squared minus 3x minus 5. I would get this thing. So at times, when we are interested in factorization to solve any function or any equation, there we will be using this strategy. So we have multiple applications of this. We'll come to that later on in this lecture. We are only going to discuss how exactly do we divide a polynomial by a divisor. Okay, let's consider another example and then things would get even clearer. Okay. Let's talk about question number 2. Here it is. Find the remainder. It says, find the remainder when 4x cubed minus 7x minus 1 is divided by 2x plus 1. Now this is the question. Find the remainder when 4x cubed minus 7x minus 1 is divided by 2x plus 1. Now students, one thing should be clear, that this is your polynomial and this is the factor that we will be using as the divisor. Now the question is not about finding the other quadratic factor or about dividing it or about finding the quotient. The question is about finding the remainder. Okay. Now, yesterday we had a discussion about finding out the remainder using the remainder theorem. So we have two methods. Number one, you can directly use the remainder theorem, and number two, you can do it by log division. So let's apply the remainder theorem first. Method number one is by doing it through remainder theorem. Okay. And according to remainder theorem, it is, if f of x is your polynomial, it's 4x cubed minus 7x minus 1. And if your factor is 2x plus 1, you need to equate it to 0 and make x the subject, and this would give you x equals minus 1 by 2. Now the remainder is going to be f of minus 1 by 2. So this would give us 4 into minus 1 by 2 cubed minus 7 into minus 1 by 2, and then we have minus 1. This would give us minus 4 by 8 plus 7 by 2 minus 1. It's 1 and 2. So minus 1 by 2 plus 7 by 2, it's minus 0.5 plus 3.5. It would be 3 minus 2. And finally, the answer is going to be 2. So this is going to be the remainder, okay? So we have two methods of finding out the remainder. Method one is just use the remainder theorem, because remainder theorem is basically made and you can directly use it. But since here we are discussing division of polynomials, so let's do it through method two as well, where we will be dividing it through long division and then we will find out the remainder. So let's just scroll up. And now let's do it again. Using the other method, okay? So method number two, okay. Now let's just write it down this way. Okay, it is 4x cubed minus 7x minus 1, and it's 2x plus 1. Okay, this was the divisor, and then we have the dividend. That's the polynomial. And again, we are trying to find the remainder. So I want 4x cubed here. In order to have 4x cubed here, I need to multiply 2x plus 1 by 2x squared basically. So it would be 2x squared. And now when I will multiply 2x plus 1 by 2x squared, this would give me 4x cubed plus 2x squared, and then the difference. These two would be cancelled, so I would get a 0 minus 2x squared minus 7x and then minus 1. Next, I need minus 2x squared here. So for that, I need minus x only. Now when I will multiply minus x by 2x plus 1, I would get minus 2x squared minus x. And again, I'm looking for the difference. These two would be cancelled. Minus 7x plus x would give me minus 6x minus 1. And then I need minus 6x here, so I can multiply it by minus 3. So it would give me minus 6x and then minus 3. And now I need to again take the difference. These two would be cancelled and I would be left with positive 2. Okay. So this is basically the remainder. Now we have done this one question using two different methods. Both the methods ended up giving us the same remainder, so it's completely your choice. Since here we are discussing division of polynomials, that is why I wanted to talk about this method as well. Okay, so again, I will just give you a quick recap about the questions we have discussed today. This was the first example where we had this as the polynomial and this as the divisor. So I've just done the division just like we do for other numbers. I've written the dividend here and the divisor here, and I've just, followed the basic steps of dividing a polynomial, and eventually I got this as the quotient. So we need to understand as well what exactly this quotient means. This quotient means that when I will multiply this quotient with this divisor, I would get this polynomial again. So this was the first example. Then the second question was not exactly about dividing, but it was about finding the remainder. Whenever you have been asked to find the remainder, you have two methods. Either you can use the remainder theorem, and the remainder theorem says equate the factor to 0, and this gave us x equals minus 1 by 2. So we plugged in minus 1 by 2 over here and in all these x, and we got positive 2 as the remainder. This was method 1. Another method was that I just did long division and I was left with positive 2 at the end. So that positive 2 is basically going to be my remainder. All right, okay. Let's talk about some more examples. Okay, let's talk about third question. It says divide x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 2 by x plus 2. Okay, now this is my polynomial. This is the divisor or the factor. So we need to write it down the same way we have been discussing. It's x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay. I would say the most important thing in maths is avoiding silly mistakes. Just make sure that you write it correctly. All right, now this is the question. I need x cubed here. I've been asked to divide this polynomial by x plus 2. I need x cubed here. For that, I will be multiplying it by x squared. So I would get x plus 2 multiplied by x squared. That would give me x cubed plus 2x squared. And then I need to find the difference. When I will find the difference, these two would be cancelled. 3x squared minus 2x squared would give me x squared. Then this would come down as it is, and then 2 would come down as it is. Now I need positive x, and this is going to be x squared plus 2x. Again, I need to find the difference. These two would be cancelled and I would be left with x plus 2. And lastly, I just need 1 and I would get the entire thing here. It would be x plus 2. And now when I will find the difference, so this would be cancelled and these two would be cancelled. And the remainder is going to be 0. So I can say that x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 2 is basically equal to the product of the linear factor, that was the divisor, multiply it by x squared plus x plus 1. Now obviously this is a quadratic factor and we know how to factorize any quadratic factor, right? That's just simple. But this is an understanding about the topic. All right. Let's talk about some more questions now. Okay, let me just write down a past paper question. And it says, show that 2x plus 1 is a factor of 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2. The past paper question says show that 2x plus 1 is a factor of 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2. Now students, again, if you want to prove that something is a factor, you need to show that the remainder is 0. Okay. In order to show that the remainder is 0, we have multiple ways. Either you can do it by long division, or you can directly use the remainder theorem and show that the remainder turns out to be 0. So let's do it through both the methods. Okay. Let's talk about method number 1, where we will be doing the long division because this is what we need to discuss. It is 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2. And the divisor is 2x plus 1. Okay. So I need 2x cubed here. For that, I just need to multiply it by x squared. And it would give me 2x cubed plus x squared. And I need to find the difference because this is how long division is. These two would be cancelled. And I would be left with minus 3x squared minus x squared. So that would give me minus 4x squared. Next, I will just write it down over here. It's positive 2x and it's positive 2. Now I need minus 4x squared here. So I will be multiplying it by minus 2x. So this would give me minus 4x squared minus 2x, and now when I will take the difference, these two would be cancelled and I would be left with positive 4x plus 2. I need to multiply it by 2, so I'll be adding 2 in the quotient and it would give me 4x plus 2. I need to have the difference, so this is going to give me, these two would be cancelled and these two would also be cancelled, so it would be 0. So this means that the remainder has turned out to be 0. Now, by now, all of us know whenever the remainder is 0, this divisor is genuinely a factor. This is a factor, right? All of us have this understanding. Whenever you are dividing a number by its factor, the remainder is 0. For example, if I say 49 divided by 7, the remainder is going to be 0. If I say 36 divided by 9, the remainder is going to be 0. Why is the remainder 0? Because 7 is a factor of 49, because 9 is a factor of 36. Okay. So this is basically the idea behind it. So in short, just know whenever the remainder is 0, that very thing or that very divisor would be an actual remainder. Another method of proving that the remainder is 0 is basically by applying the remainder theorem. So let's talk about method number 2 here. That is using the remainder theorem. Okay. So the function or the polynomial was f of x equals 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2, and the divisor was 2x plus 1. I need to equate it to 0, and this would give me x equals minus 1 by 2. Now I need to plug in minus 1 by 2 in f. So I need to find the value of minus 1 by 2, and it should be 0 because f of minus 1 by 2 is basically going to give me the remainder. So this is going to be 2 into minus 1 by 2 cubed minus 3 into minus 1 by 2 squared positive 2 into minus 1 by 2, and then we have plus 2 minus, sorry about it, this would give you minus 2 by 8, then positive 3 by 4, then negative 1, then positive 2. Okay. This is going to give me yes. This is going to be negative 3 by 4. It would give me negative 1, negative 1, positive 2, and finally the answer is going to be 0. That was basically the remainder. So we know, according to the remainder theorem, if we have a divisor, let's say this time around the divisor was 2x plus 1, you need to equate it to 0, and once you have equated it to 0, you would get a value of x. Plug in that value of x in the function, and whatever value you get, whatever numerical value you get, is going to be the remainder. The remainder turned out to be 0. That proves that this is basically a factor. Okay, so this was the discussion today. We had to discuss this. So I hope that all of you were able to understand the entire concept behind division of polynomials. We have not only discussed division of polynomials, but we also know how to find the remainder. We also know how to prove that something is a factor. And always remember, if something is a factor, the remainder is going to be 0. So we have multiple ways. Now, in the next class, we are going to discuss the factor theorem. So that is basically coming from the remainder theorem, but things would get very, very clear automatically. So that is it for today. I hope you guys were able to understand the entire concept. If you were able to understand everything, and if you feel like joining the live classes where we are discussing the entire concept and everything online, just use the link in description to get yourselves enrolled for our live classes. So that is it for today. Then I will see you next time. Take care, all of you, and Allah Hafiz.